From Nathaniel, is getting any representation better than none at all so they can submit you for work? Or are there some managers who are so new or unknown that you'd be no better off with them than without them?
I'm going to let Jordan speak to this because she's had managers she's liked and some that have been good for you and some. How's it for you, Jordan?
So it depends on where you are in the process of kind of breaking in, which sounds silly, but I think I've had managers who wanted to completely disregard what I was interested in writing in, but also didn't want to work with me to understand that strategy, which just cost me time. It cost me a year of time and dozens of meetings, walking in, pitching myself as one thing, and then going, I didn't know that, and come to find out that she had been telling them something completely different. Well, that's useless, and in fact, is probably harmful. Whereas I've had others who kind of pop in from time to time. You know, they're kind of like absentee fathers where you send them something and they're like, good job, sport, and then you don't hear from them for like 2 months. That can be useful though, because then you get to put that you have a manager or an agent while you're looking for someone else or while you're querying and so on like that. It's always nice when you find a manager who actually understands what you like to write and why you like to write it and who properly champions your stuff. So it's kind of a mixed bag. It's really about, I personally think of it as like strategy. Think of yourself, where do you want to be in 5 years? And if they can offer nothing else but a way for you to get closer to where you want to be, that's okay too. You know, like you may luck into the perfect manager right away and they'll be with you for the rest of your great career. But you may go through 10 people before you find someone you actually like. And in fact, we had last year, we had a guest speaker who didn't have a rep at all. And she was consistently getting work in television. So,
I mean, are you chasing a manager too soon or an agent too soon? You know, we talk about this a lot in getting notes, getting feedback, applying to small competitions, using those as a gauge to see where how your work is being received. Just because you've written one screenplay or 10 doesn't mean they're ready or they're ready for the market, you know, so they're maybe not at the level they need to be to compete. And if you're burning a bridge or, you know, chasing down a manager and then you show them your work and it's not at the level it needs to be because you didn't spend the time to find out for sure, then you're jumping too fast into the deep end and you really should take your time. You should step back, get as many notes as you can, work with a consultant. Don't be afraid of the negative stuff that people say about consultant. Max is a consultant. He's a great educator and he can walk you through a whole lot of like making sure your script is far more ready than those who are submitting query letters out there, whatever, submitting to anything, submitting to competition. So, but find somebody that you're comfortable with. Make sure your material is ready before you're submitting to an agent or a manager. Because if your script is ready and you're placing in competitions or you're submitting to the development for a development evaluation through the ISA or any competition, anyone who's got some sort of connection to the industry, they're going to take you to an agent or a manager, right? So you don't need to chase agents and managers. Let somebody else lead you into somebody who's right for you because they're your champion. So
I think there's an opportunity, and this won't necessarily apply to every single person here, but I do know, so I saw somebody talk about being that they're developing game shows, and if you can take anything from this, anybody that is, think about your brand and how your public facing social media looks. If you have a certain genre or a niche within the storytelling world that is like, oh, this is me and this is what I own. You know, for me, I come from the like historical and mystery world of documentary style. And because of my social media presence, I've had multiple production companies approach me out of the blue, say, hey, do you have any concepts for shows you would like to pitch us? And at that point, there's no manager involved at all. You're pitching directly and they're finding you. So I know that doesn't apply to everybody, but if it applies to any of you, that's something to consider.
I was going to say that too. Remember, you're hiring them, not the other way around. You know, I think that's the thing, is like the screenwriters, the whole industry is built on the backs of the screenwriters and the storytellers. There are no jobs without you. So remember, it's that way around, and we get completely bamboozled into thinking it should be the other way. And I think what Craig said about being ready is correct too. But what I say, I mean, I think there are a couple of things. One, social media is really important right now. I don't know if you've seen the hashtag Twitter screenwriting thing, but there are writers really being helped by showrunners, other screenwriters in the industry, supporting each other and pushing each other forward. So do that, find some friends there to really build your writer's resume. Enter contests, write short stories, do vlogs. This other thing, just to build your personality and your brand for yourself in social media, and for yourself just to know who you are as a writer. And then, to be honest with you, our development slate, I had 4 meetings in the last 2 weeks with managers looking at our development slate. So they are looking for you, but they want to find people that other people have said they're a good writer. Again, they don't want to do the hard work. They want someone else to have chosen them. So like a contest or the development slate, or you know, there are other places where you can build your writer's resume so that you can be found. I think that's what I love about the ISA site too, is that posting a success story means that we have a lot of industry professionals signing up now, and really big companies now are signed up, and they can go through the success stories and find people that aren't even on our development slate. So if you are ISA Connect and posting success stories, you are getting your foot, you're getting ahead of the game. We are literally, Jordan read a script the other day that literally it was a person that posted on a success story on the site, and I was like, we need to investigate this person. So they seem to be doing well in contests. I love the success stories they keep posting. Who are they? What are they doing? So honestly, everyone wants to find the next Get Out, or the next, you know, the next amazing writer that's going to blow everyone's minds. So if you're it, we need to be able to find you. The ISA is a community that is, everything we do is to try and help you either get better at your craft, or to be a showcase for you so you can actually be found.
You know, an agent once told us that she only gets 10% commission because you're supposed to do 90% of the work. We've said this before, but it bears repeating, because you have to be proactive with your career. You really do. You can't just, you can write, that's great, and if that's all you want to do, and then you can enter some contests, or at least get it out there some way, submit for notes, or even do the queries, whatever you're most comfortable with. You still have to be a 90% participant, you know? So make sure it's not just the writing. That's part of the journey, but there's a whole nother piece of that includes your being proactive. Obviously you're here. That's part of being proactive. That's a huge step compared to a whole lot of other people who are not. So having the conversations, doing the query letters, submitting to competitions, whatever it takes, wherever you can go, putting together sizzle reels, shooting a scene from your project, your script, like Damien Chazelle did, you know, find some money, or do it on your iPhone, anything to get somebody's attention. But be a 90%, you know, participant in your future.
Let me just, we'll kind of finish off this portion of the question here, but I think we got to point out that all of these comments and really great answers came from a question about, you know, should I just take any manager that comes along, or should I be, you know, particular? Almost every answer here was basically saying you don't technically need a manager. not right now. I mean, it does, of course, it helps because you have somebody on your team fighting for you, trying to get work out there. But we as screenwriters and writers in general tend to give our power away way too easily. And we have our power and ability and control over our own careers, because we can do, like what Felicity was saying, we can do anything from creating vlogs, when we can, you know, try to write for the Huffington Post, or try to write blog articles, or just get our world and life and ourselves out there. So nothing is technically holding us back from doing what we love to do. What we need to do is shift our focus a little bit, because it's at the ISA, and I've been in the screenwriting education world for 15 years, and it's always the same question: do I need a manager? How do I get a manager? Et cetera, manager. you have much more ability and control than you tend to allow yourself to have. And I really, I'm kind of also saying that to myself, just to remind myself, because we're all in the same boat.
I would agree on that. I would say that a manager will probably find you when you're at the place where you're ready. I mean, advocate for yourself and don't, because a lot of times I think people get managers and then they go, okay, I'm done working. No, you've just begun, because now you're in a pool of other writers who are really great too. And so now you got to find your way to the top of that list. So it's constantly like swimming and swimming faster and swimming harder, you know, so advocate for yourself.